Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today on the show we have a fun discussion for you guys here today. Basically, 3 years later, we're going to be checking out the most hated DLC update in Red Dead Online and actually talking about it in retrospect and seeing if it really is that bad, because I would tend to disagree. So we're going to give my thoughts here today in this video, and I'd love to know yours down in the comment section below. So as we get into things, if you enjoy this video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it, and if you want to stay up to date with everything Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Online, consider hitting that subscribe button with your bell notifications turned on. The topic for today's discussion, if you're wondering what the DLC is that I'm referring to here, well, it is of course the Naturalist role, and the Naturalist DLC that came out at the end of July of 2020. And what we're going to be doing today is checking out one of the missions. Not one of the legendary sighting missions just yet, but I want to do this poached animals mission, which is like the Naturalist version of the Moonshine bootlegger missions, where basically you should be able to do these once every 15 minutes. That used to be the case. There used to be a 15-minute cooldown timer on these, but now it seems like it's like 45 minutes, 50 minutes, or maybe even an hour. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but it's been this way now for, I think, the better part of this year. And I'm just hoping that Rockstar reverts it. I don't know why they made this change at all. You should be able to do these every 15 minutes, just like the bootlegger missions. So we're gonna check one of these out. I guess probably I should have thought about Harriet talking over me that entire time right there, because I think the gameplay from my live commentaries are pretty loud. But nonetheless, we're gonna be talking about the Naturalist DLC and basically discussing why, when this DLC released, obviously no player was excited about it or happy with this DLC, because they were waiting so long between the Moonshiners DLC and this one that they were hoping the content would be really good. And I myself was one of those players who actually did enjoy this DLC when it released, because I was really happy that there was any new content in the game. But of course, I feel like there should have been a lot more in terms of the actual gunplay, and this DLC should have had more than just the animal side of things. But that's why Rockstar introduced this poaching animals missions, because with these missions, you do actually fight some actual enemies. I mean, you fight some enemies as well in the legendary animal sighting missions, but not every single variant. But also at the same token, or at the same time, you also don't fight enemies in all these missions as well. But this variant is taking us over here, sort of on the way towards Emerald Station. I was hoping it was gonna bring us all the way out here. Where would it be? It's over here at this little shack and house at the H in Blue Water Marsh. That's a fun variant of this mission, but we're checking out this one. Basically, we're gonna need to like free an animal here and take out all these poachers. So of course, as usual, we don't really need it for this mission, but minty big game, we're gonna take a potent health cure, because after this as well, we're gonna be doing something else. So let's start shooting all these guys, and while we do this, we could talk about basically why I think the Naturalist DLC was so poorly received when it released. Obviously, the biggest thing was the content drought between the Moonshiners update, which came out the beginning of December of 2019, and then in July of 2020 was when we got this Naturalist DLC. So we had basically 8 months of absolutely nothing, and this was also at the same time when Rockstar wasn't communicating with the fan base at all. So as a player base, we were all completely left in the dark. We didn't know if this game was abandoned. We didn't know if this game was getting any more content, stuff like that. We could only assume that it was going to get a summer update. But when would that be, right? Because Rockstar didn't let us know about the Naturalist update literally until that Thursday before. I'm pretty sure we got the announcement newswire on a Friday, but we had like one tiny quick tease on Thursday about this update, and then Friday morning we got a newswire, and the update released that Tuesday. So it was like minimal time in between when this update was actually announced and when it actually released. And I'm pretty sure, at least according to the trailer on YouTube, the Red Dead Online Naturalist DLC trailer is the most watched DLC trailer for this game, besides the gameplay trailers and the promotional trailers for the actual story mode itself. And that is because Rockstar went on a huge marketing campaign for this DLC. And it's interesting that they spent so much money on advertising the Naturalist DLC for the Naturalist role, when what I think is, I think there were better DLCs that this game had. Of course, the Bounty Hunter expansion was really good. Frontier Pursuits was the best update this game ever saw. It introduced the most content. I mean, we got 3 distinct roles, all with 20 levels each. totally different types of content for all that. And so I think, me personally, that's the best DLC this game ever saw, and probably we ever will see with this game. But I don't think that the Frontier Pursuits trailer has as many views as the Naturalist DLC trailer, which is kind of interesting. Yes, so at least according to YouTube, Red Dead Online Frontier Pursuits and that trailer on YouTube, and by the way, this is all from the official Rockstar Games channel, it has 677,000 views. Moonshiners has 669,000 views. Then you look at the Naturalist DLC and it has 11 million views. Rockstar went all out with the Naturalist DLC in terms of promotion. We have basically almost, what is it, 15, 16 times the view count on the Naturalist trailer compared to Frontier Pursuits, which is the biggest update this game ever saw. That's not organic. That is just entirely because of the fact that Rockstar was promoting this DLC so much. And obviously it paid off because this game saw a huge spike in players when this update came out. But at the same time, they didn't really do anything with this game afterward. I mean, it was another 6 months until the the Bounty Hunter update actually released. And that was the last, like, I don't want to say major DLC because it was just a role expansion, but we did get a lot of new content in terms of the infamous bounties and stuff like that. But it was the last update that we actually saw something tacked onto the roles, because after that we had another 8-month wait or 9-month wait until the Blood Money update came out, and then that was just the last quote-unquote big DLC this game ever got. And since then, we've just been getting monthly events, or we were getting weekly events for another 6 months. And then we found out the news that we weren't getting a December update in December of 2021. And then we started getting monthly events. And in the summer of 2022, Rockstar finally confirmed that no more major DLCs would be coming to this game in the meantime. And they haven't announced any changes to that plan since then. So unfortunately, this DLC got a bad rap, and that's because of all the animal hunting, and players didn't really want to deal with that. But I personally enjoyed this DLC. I'm not going to say it was the best DLC, because of course Frontier Pursuits is better. I think in terms of content, all the other DLCs are more replayable. But this role and this DLC was really good for the trader role that released with Frontier Pursuits. And the reason for that is because of these Naturalist sighting missions that we're going to do right now. We're just going to do, I guess, the Pay to Bison. We can get that done really fast. So here we are in the Pay to Bison mission, and it's funny because when you play this, you actually get hail, which is like the only time we have hail as precipitation in this game, which is pretty cool. I think this is one of the longer variants of the Pay to Bison sighting mission as well. But all this role revolves around, as you guys know, is just hunting animals and sampling animals if you want to sample them as well. And so a lot of players find it really boring, but this role is very, very good for supercharging your trader role, just because of the fact that you get a lot of animal materials with these sighting missions from the pelts that you actually skin off of the animals themselves. And so that's why I still find myself playing this role basically 3 years later at this point. It's been almost 3 years since this DLC, and it's the most hated role in this game, but it seems like nowadays players, including myself, actually like it. You know, if you're a newer player to the game, I've seen a lot of newer players be like, you know, I've heard you talk bad about the Naturalist, and I disagree. I think it's really good. And honestly, I think that's great that players are enjoying this role now, because it wasn't bad when it came out. It just wasn't what the player base wanted necessarily after so long of a wait between content updates. We wanted something bigger and better. Of course, we wanted our properties and our heists and things like that. But of course, we weren't going to get those types of things. But to see the Naturalist come out and just have a DLC just about animals was pretty disheartening at first. And obviously, it really wasn't well received. But I think nowadays, this role has aged really well. And I would argue it's a core part of this game's gameplay loop. You know, you don't necessarily need the Naturalist to be a successful trader, but the most successful traders will use the Naturalist role to their advantage because they don't need to waste time hunting animals in free roam. They're just going to play the Naturalist missions and be good to go. Speaking of animals too, we're going to need to kill these wolves before we hunt this bison. I don't know why that one decided to turn around. Usually they try and get me bucked off my horse. I was actually just about to be right there. Let's check out this last clue right here. And we got more wolves to deal with. I missed. Whoops. I sold. Oh, headshotted the wrong wolf that I was targeting right there. That's pretty funny. You're done, buddy. Now let's check out this clue as well. I think maybe this is the last one before we get the bison spawn. I'm not positive. Let's see here. Yep, here we go. Okay, now it's time to hunt down this bison, and we can wrap up today's video. So yes, 3 years later, we have the Naturalist role. when it released, it's one of the most hated roles, but now I'd love to know in the comments from you guys, what do you think about this role? Is this your least favorite role in the game? It may still be, but I guess what I really should be asking is, do you hate this role? Do you actually dislike this role? Or is it just your least favorite one out of all the roles we've received in this game, between Collector, Trader, Bounty Hunter, and of course, Naturalist and Moonshiner? When's this thing gonna die? The Springfield rifle just does not do a lot of damage on the Bison. You know, you could just run in with the shotgun and kill it with like 6 shots, but I was curious to see how many shots the Springfield takes, and honestly, quite a few in my opinion. So yes, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know what you guys think about the Naturalist role, and honestly, let me know in the comments if you're still playing this role 3 years later as well. I personally am. Whenever I hop on the game, the Naturalist is just part of my gameplay loop, but I really am only doing it because I'm constantly trying to keep my trader business at max materials as well. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't do many of these sighting missions. I still would from time to time, but I really am only doing it because of the trader role. I'm doing it maybe for a certain reason, but I do like the role itself. So let me know in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next Red Dead Online video. Adios, amigos.